If you are a first-time listener, the program once again is Disability Inclusion, and on the program, we bring you details about everything that concerns persons with disabilities, including the challenges they face, the opportunities that they should be tapping into, and also solutions for these challenges. Once again, my name is Jennifer Ogo, and on today's program, our focus will be on Nigerian journalist preparedness towards the Persons with Disability Inclusive Media Reportage for 2023 General Election. And our guest for today is someone who is a member of the Nawatch, and she is the assistant manager of news NTA. She's actually representing the president of the Association of Women Journalists. Her name is Monso Damian. Good evening, and thanks for joining us today.
Good evening, and it's my pleasure joining you today.
All right, so journalists and media practitioners are foot soldiers in entrenching the Persons with Disability Inclusive 2023 general elections through a PWD inclusive media reportage. So the media remains a place that citizens look up to for information regarding electoral and political processes. And when information about the participation of persons with disabilities is not properly captured by the media, it brings discrimination and eventually voter apathy among the community of persons with disabilities. Journalists have a responsibility to ensure that their reportage, I beg your pardon, before, during, and after the elections is inclusive of persons with disabilities, as this will improve their self esteem, self confidence, self dignity, communication, leadership, and public presentation skills, as well as achieve independent living during and beyond the election season. So, Persons with Disability Inclusive Media Reportage will also help in escalating issues around persons with disabilities to enlighten the public and help stakeholders make adequate provision for them as members of the society. Well, these and many will be our focus today on the program Disability Inclusion as we take a look at the level of preparedness towards the PWD Inclusive Media Reportage for 2023 general election, that is by the Nigerian journalist. All right, do stay with us. The program is still Disability Inclusion. And we're still live on the program Disability Inclusion, coming to you from the network service of Radio Nigeria. Well, we are streaming on our social media handles on Facebook at the Albino Foundation, on Twitter and Instagram at staff_NIG. Once again, our guest for today's program is a representative of the president of the Association of Women Journalists, NAWOCH. She is Monso Damian, the assistant manager, News, Nigeria Television Authority. Welcome to our program, ma'am, and I'm happy to see that you are really relaxed. So you're ready for any question for today.
Well, what do you expect from a journalist?
Of course, of course. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us once again.
Thank you.
So we'll be calling out the phone lines shortly, but let's hear from our guests. First of all, what are the roles of Nigerian journalists in amplifying disability inclusion in Nigeria?
Well, first and foremost, the journalist provides the citizens with the needed information to formulate their own opinion, to make their own decision on governance, on their society, on the environment, and all. And that includes persons with disability. So, first of all, the journalist creates awareness about the plans and programs of disabled persons. They promote advocacy on the rights of the persons living with disability, and they also amplify their voices within the media space. So giving them a loud voice, since as their representatives, just giving them platforms where they can air out their grievances, their issues, their problems, things concerning them, and then also promoting inclusive inclusiveness. Let me use that word.
Okay.
Yeah. So it should be all inclusive. Those who are with disabilities, those who are not, there should be an equal opportunity level playing ground for all. participant.
Okay, I'll throw the next question with what you highlighted, amplifying the voices of persons with disabilities. How do you rate that so far, right now in the media space? Is it something that we should be giving a pat on the back? Do you think we are really pushing, disability rights forward? Do you think we are giving persons with disabilities an opportunity to air, you know, their voices?
Yeah, I think we deserve a pat on the back. Since the passage of that act into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019, January 23rd, I think the matter, became very obvious in the media space. The voices of persons with disability became amplified. They could, they had the confidence, it gave them a kind of confidence, to walk out to media outfits and, seek for a voice, in the media space. So I think the media deserve a pat on the back on that because you could hear a lot of issues now in the media space about people living with disabilities. Like, for example, with past advocacies, the Electoral Act has also recognized that there's a need to promote the participation of persons with disabilities in the electoral process. And because of the advocacy, because of the, pressure, the voices of the, media practitioners on the need to carry these people along, you see that a lot of attention has been given to persons with disability. From what I was told, in this next coming elections, devices will be provided for persons with disability to aid them to their electoral, perform their franchise, without issues. For example, persons who have albino or a little albinism can now be provided with binoculars, I was told, to aid the seeing whom they want to vote for. So I think this is kudos to what the media has been doing in the background to ensure that they are given an equal level, playing ground, and then that devices are provided to aid their participation in the political process.
Okay, so I'm going to throw the next question directly to your organization as a member. How prepared is the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists to deliver a PWD inclusive media report for the 2023 general election?
Now, through advocacies in the past years, we have been witnessing positive results. We've been recording positive results. In fact, we just recently, the NowWatch signed a pact with the Albino Foundation to train journalists on how well to cover people with disabilities, especially during elections. And I can tell you that since the ending of last year through to this year, we've been organizing series of trainings and retrainings for our members to ensure that all of them are well equipped, they are well prepared, and they are well trained on how to report this kind of people.
Right. Okay, still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We would like to hear from you. Our phone lines are 0705 149 3324 or 0915 091 0482. I take those numbers again: 0705 149 3324 or 0915 091 0482. So we'll be expecting your calls. Keep them coming. Let's take our news report. Do stay with us.
So Jennifer, why not a member of NowWatch?
Sorry, I found it program. I can't hear myself. I can't hear.
You are not hearing this.
I can't hear.
What happened?
Can you hear?
It's going on air now.
But I can't hear.
Okay. They are not hearing anything. It's from them.
So how do we hear
Say
callers?
Hey, that's a problem.
Ha. That's the main thing.
Okay, the news is being taken from another.
No, it's pre-recorded, so it's actually airing now. But we are supposed to hear it.
So we know when it ends.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Okay.
In his remark, the executive director explained that after 4 years, the discrimination against people with disability is still very high, blaming the ministries, departments, and agencies for not recognizing people with disability in their yearly activities.
Thank you.
He said people with disabilities are still facing barriers after the disability law was passed and signed 4 years ago. The barriers has to do with our attitude. Discrimination against people with disability is still very high in this country. Research that we conducted last year showed that ministries, departments, and agencies still stigmatize and discriminate against people with disability in their programs and activities. The only office that is consistent in promoting issues with people with disability is President Muhammadu Buhari. The president, in his speeches, addresses, have called on agencies to respond to the issues affecting people with disability.
Sorry, please sign out the music, the song, and sign on Johnny Tree.
Okay, sign out the news.
Sign off this and sign on Johnny Tree music.
Okay.
Let's play that.
That is the outcome of our findings. Annually added that people with disability face employment issues despite 5% employment given to them by the law. He stated, also the law provides 5% employment opportunities for people with disability. These 5% provisions are yet to be fulfilled in most NDAs. I am Jemima Pope.
And that was news report by Jemima Paul. Many thanks. It's still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Just keep your contribution around the corner because we'll be taking your calls shortly. As we take a look at Nigerian journalists' preparedness towards the PWD Inclusive Media Reportage for 2023 general elections. So stay with us. Let's go on a quick music break. And that's the question we are asking you right now. How are you? Are you masking all this depression, anxiety, fear, sadness, grief, whatever, behind the smile? Well, we sincerely want to know how you are doing on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Beautiful piece by Johnny Drill himself titled How Are You, My Friend? Well, if you're just joining us, the program is still Disability Inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria, and depicting the message that song had for us. One less sense of belonging and an inclusive society for all is the environment that we like to create in the program Disability Inclusion. My name is still Jennifer Owo, your anchor, and we have our guest in the studio, Monso Damian, the Assistant Manager, News NTA, and also a member of the Association of Women Journalists. All right, so the number to call is 0705 149 3324 or 0915 091 0482, 0705 149 3324 or 0915 091 0482. Well, in case you might have a network hitch getting across to us, we are streaming on our Facebook page at the Albino Foundation. Drop a comment, watch us, and get involved in the conversation today. So, in your assessment, Momso, what's the level of prominence that is being given to stories regarding persons with disabilities by media organizations in Nigeria?
I think the level is high. Before now, you could hardly hear of, or you could hardly see stories of persons with disabilities on the media space.
Okay.
But yes, like I said earlier, the following series of advocacies, and since the passage of the bill, I think the media space gave prominence. You could see a lot of stories on diverse media outfits, the print, the TV, the radio, everywhere. You could see that, they invite them to the studio now. We have disability days, the celebrations. You see, for instance, in NTA,
Mm-hmm.
NTA International,
Yeah.
there's a small box where you see, a lady who is trying to clear sign language. Yes, so those are the kind of things I think the media has been doing to promote the cause of these people in Nigeria.
During the election now, as you just mentioned, sign language interpretation, can we ensure, because I'm also a media personality, can we ensure that in every form of the media, that the disseminated information appeals to every form of disability, where the persons that are visually impaired can hear, persons that cannot hear can see. Is that possible that they are carried along during the 2023 general election in all media outlets?
Well, I think with the trainings we've been having, the media is going to do its best to see that they get the maximum coverage and reportage possible.
Hmm.
Yes, I may not vouch for INEC, but I know from what INEC said, and with the new electoral laws, that they are going to be imputing devices and aids to enable these people to actually exercise their franchise.
Mm.
So, and I'm sure that because INEC has been interfacing with media personalities to train them, what to cover and all that. And then the media outfits have also been training their personnel on how best to cover the next elections. So I'm very certain that at least to a large extent, there will be adequate coverage that will satisfy everyone, including the persons with disabilities.
Okay. So PVC collection is currently ongoing in all states of the Federation. There have been reports of overcrowded PVC collection points, which might discourage persons with disabilities from participating since there are no provisions to ease the process for them in some, collection points. Journalists are yet to escalate the fact that, you know, this has a potential to disenfranchise persons with disabilities. What's your reaction to this?
I think in the same manner, journalism is giving normal persons who have not collected their PVC's coverage and a voice. It's the same manner in which they will give persons with disability. So I think most times the issue lies with if the reporter, while on the field, met a circumstance that concerns person with disability. Let's say at the time of coverage, there was such an instance and the person covers it, of course the person will report. But let's say the reporter had left before such an incident occurred, where the persons with disability were denied or delayed, and then they just get tired and pissed off and go walk away, is a different thing. But I think it can be remedied too. Looking at the social media, I think it's easy. These days, most of us reporters go there, pick stories, then verify and ensure they're true before we now report on our various platforms. If there's such an instance, why not reach out? Use your phones, capture them, send them on air. The journalists will see. We watch a lot of things on the media, social media these days. We'll pick from there and then verify if it's true before we go on air to be sure that what we're reporting is actually not fake news in quote. So, but if at the time of reportage the journalist is there when such an incident occurs, of course, the journalist will go ahead to report that. After all, we're actually promoting the cause of everybody, every Nigerian, just ensuring that they are given the right information to make the right decisions.
Yes. Let's talk about parity voting. How far are we going that the media and journalists, in passing across the message of parity voting are for persons with disabilities?
Well, I think that lies with INEC.
Okay.
Yes, the only thing the journalists can do or media outfits can do is to report what is and maybe ask questions. I mean, what do you have? What kind of plans do you have for these people? Because like a person with albinism cannot go and stand in the sun for hours.
Of course.
So there should be provision to actually ensure that that person gets to cast their votes on time and leave.
What if a person with disability doesn't know?
I think
that's not the duty of the journalists to make them aware that okay, at some point during the electoral process, you have a parity vote.
Okay, that's true.
Okay.
Yes. But from what I have seen so far, from the trainings and the retrainings and the workshops we've been holding, preparatory to the elections, I'm very certain that these things will be amplified on a daily basis. Almost a month ago, there's so much being done to ensure that okay, everybody knows their rights, everybody knows what they need to do, and and all that. So I'm very certain that before the elections actually come, that they may be enlightened. And I think NOAA should also come in. INEC, NOAA, and all the stakeholders who are involved in enlightening, because the media alone cannot do it. But those who are, responsible for enlightening the public should also use this time to all hands on deck and ensure that the persons get the right information. They should be properly informed on what to do to get, to exercise their rights. Yes, you just get priority, do your voting on time, and then you leave and all that.
Okay, so make your voices heard by calling the number 0705 149 3324 0705 149 3324 0915 091 0482. Make your comments, make your contribution. There is no 100% to anything in life. The media is just the forefront of the estate in society, and we believe in doing better. So you can make your comments, let us know where we have setbacks, let us know where we can put in the work and make sure that persons with disabilities are being carried along during the electoral process and making sure that they exercise their franchise with little or no hitches. So 0705 149 3324 or 0915 091 0482. We have a representative who is representing the president of the Association of Women Journalists. She's also the assistant manager news NTA. Her name is Mom Sudanian. She's our guest for today. We're taking a look at Nigerian journalists' preparedness towards persons with disability inclusive media reportage for 2023 general election. Come on, let's talk about 2023 general election. It's right around the corner. I don't think we have up to like 3 weeks before that. election day. So you need to say all you have to say right now. Call these numbers and let's get the conversation going. So how can media practitioners and the public work together to effectively amplify disability inclusion across the country to reduce discrimination amongst persons with disabilities?
Media practitioners need to be furnished with information. Just provide the information. It is our work to go there, investigate if it's true or not, and then we report on our various platforms. So all the I think we should have, like I said earlier, I did mention earlier that you could actually post some things, you even pick from, see stories online, just on social media, on WhatsApp, Facebook, just videos, and then we go further to investigate and see if those are true or not before we report on our platforms. So all you need is just furnish the media personnel, try to get contact, phone numbers, whatever it is, if there is, just get in touch. This is what I've seen. If you can use your phone, get the videos before the person gets there. Thank God for the era of the social media where everything is being digitized. Even before the conventional media gets there, the phones have already, people have already done their work on phone and everything. So all you need is just furnish the media practitioners with the information they need. And I can assure you, with the trainings we're having, with the enlightenment, with the advocacy and everything, who, sit up to take our responsibility.
Okay, from your point of view and from probably your observation, what's the percentage of persons with disabilities now in the media space? Reporting news, covering events, writing stories. How would you rate the participation or the staffing now, if I'm right to use that word, of persons with disability in media houses?
Media houses.
Yes.
We're actually debating on that.
Okay.
Generally, I know Nigeria has about 25 million, and in 2011, those are the figures we were furnished with.
Yeah.
But the media house, because we're even talking about, creating an association where persons with disabilities in media houses can meet and chat and interact and, just improve on themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not up to, I know, not 2%.
Because I was thinking if persons with disabilities are actually there,
involved,
it will go a long way.
More amplified.
Of course, to promote what we are all about. All right, we're still waiting for your calls. Yeah, you're about to.
No, but actually, with this new bill that provides equal opportunities for all, and then giving 5% to persons with disability. There's a mandate that every organization should just employ 5% of persons. So I'm very sure that with time the implementation is slow. The bill has passed, is now a law, but the implementation is actually taking a little time. But I'm sure we'll get there. Yes, that a time will come when all media outfits must, or all organizations must create 5%, just space for persons with disabilities to be employed. If you're given, let's say, 10 slots, you should know that 5% of the 10 slots belong to persons with disabilities, and you must reserve the particular space for those kind of people. So a time is coming, just like we're vying for, advocacy for women, participation and all that. So.
All right, it's still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We're talking about the level of preparedness a journalist towards persons with disability inclusive media reportage for 2023 general election. My name is still Jennifer Ovo on the program. To stay with us. All right, Two-Face Idibia, popularly known as Tubaba, preaching, yes, preaching the right message for us to say no to vote buying, vote peacefully, no fighting, no distraction whatsoever, vote according to your conscience, and most importantly, vote for your children's future. At that point, that day, it's not a place where you start campaigning again, all right?
Exactly.
Allow other people to vote who they want to vote and don't start causing any form of disruption. All right, let's talk about bias now. Among in the media space, how do we, as media practitioners, really curb the attitude of bias that comes during the election period?
Now, bias in what sense?
Okay, political parties giving prominence or giving more attention to a particular political party, yes. So how do we actually curb that?
Well, I think if we abide by our code of ethics,
Mm.
we'll get it right.
Mm.
Yes. And looking at the three pillars on which journalism is built is truth, accuracy, and objectivity. So I think it's high time the media practitioners realize that there's a need to be objective in everything they do.
Mm.
You just put your sentiments aside, you just put your affiliations aside, whatever it is that binds you to the particular political party you want to give more prominence to, and just be objective. Just so that whatever you're doing is service to Nigeria and the whole of humanity.
Mm.
It's about, like Tubaba's song just said, it's about our future, it's about our children. So forget about yourself. It's not about the current remunerations. It's about the future, it's about Nigeria, it's about where you live and the betterment of the society as a whole, I beg your pardon. So it's time we become objective and we abide by the code of ethics guiding us as media practitioners.
All right.
We're working in the interest of Nigerians, in the interest of the public. All we need is to furnish the public with the right information to make the right decisions that affects them as a community, affects them as a society, affects them as persons, and affect them as a nation.
Right. So the election period is usually trailed with fake news. How can this be controlled within the media space to avoid misleading the public?
The issue of fake news is a national problem. Even the federal government has been trying to actually curb that.
Yeah.
It can only be curbed when there's regulation, and that has been a contentious issue. National Assembly, the presidency, and all that. So I will leave them to handle that at their level. But as media practitioners, I think we should always verify. That is what makes the difference between the traditional media and the social media. So we should always verify. Even when people see things on the social media space, they would always want to verify from the traditional media.
It's so exactly.
Yes, they always want to come back. Is this really true?
Yes.
Because sometimes you see a video circulating and all that, you'd be shocked to know that that thing was doctored, was manufactured from somewhere, just mischievous person somewhere. So, but for us who are really practicing journalism, who are certified and licensed, you cross-check, you verify, you ensure that whatever you're reporting is true, the video is actually true. In some instances, you could go to Google, and search and be sure if it's true. There are apps that are coming up now to help us verify the sources and the
Okay.
authenticity of
that
yes,
story.
of yes, the source of the story. We have the Third Eye, I think it's thirdeye.com. We have various platforms. I think you Google them and see what those apps you could actually download on your phones to cross-check and verify if what is being posted on the social media space is actually true or not. So that we don't go by what every other person who is not trained, who is not licensed, is just posting on the social media space.
Honestly, I was going to ask, tackling the problem of misinformation, like figures, aggregate, that every
In some
news
instances,
house
some will
is
even
disseminating.
declare the election results before INEC
Because
does.
that's another problem that we need to tackle. All right. As a journalist, what are some tips for reporting and writing about persons with disabilities in Nigeria?
First of all, understand the people you're reporting about. If
Okay.
you don't understand a person with disability, you can't report him properly. You can't represent him well. So you understand the person you're reporting. Now understand the bill too that has been passed into law. What does the bill say? It says there should be given equal opportunity like any other person in public space when it comes to public transport and all that. Now, if you segregate or discriminate against such a person, do you know you'll be fined or you have 6 months imprisonment?
Yes.
Yes. But how many people do that? So there's a need to actually, I think we need to do more, if I would say that, yes. But we need to understand them, first of all, the persons we're reporting in the first place, understand the bill. What does it entail? Dissect it, break it down, understand it, explain it in the simplest terms. When I covered the first meeting they had when the bill was passed, when the act was passed into the when Buhari assented to that bill. When I did, I had to study what does it. So when I started my reportage, I was like, okay, if you ever discriminate against a person with disability in public transport, you'll be fined a sum of 100,000 or liable to 6 months in prison. And my colleagues were like, what? I said, yes, that's the new thing. So when you break it down for the public to understand, that if you ever see, because someone is disabled, you just shut the doors of your cabin, the taxi, you don't want to pick the person and all that, the person could report you and then there'll be penalties.
Yes.
Yes. So understand them, dissect it, break it down in the simplest terms that the society understands that this is what the law says about those people, and these are the implications if you do not comply. So, these are the things we need to know. Just get to study them, as you keep reporting, get their views, because there are diverse kinds of disabilities. There are those whose eyes are open but they can't really see.
Yes.
There are those who look normal but they can't hear. There are those who are physically challenged, with broken limbs and all that and everything. So it's all encompassing. You need to understand each of these disabilities and then know how to go about reporting them. For those who have no limbs and are maybe using crutches or wheelchairs, all they need in public spaces and facilities is just an aid to just help them get wherever they're going to. They may not be able, or there's a special need or something to just aid them. For those who cannot hear, you need to understand that it's not everybody you see on the street that hears. Some are actually deaf, they can't hear. For those who have eyes, but you just need to understand the diverse sets of disabilities and then how to address each. This will help a journalist to report them better, interact with them, just get to know their needs per time.
Okay, the number to call is 0705-1493-324 or 0915-091-0482. What is the benefit of incorporating social media as a tool? I know you mentioned some points for disability inclusion during the upcoming election.
I can tell you there are diverse benefits. You know why? Because they always beat the conventional media to breaking news. Remember the last elections, things were happening and they're already trending on air. So before I would go, let's say you just read the news a while ago, before you return from the field to come and start filing your report, give the editor, social media has already broken that kind of news. I'm just praying that it won't be fake anyway, like declaring the results even before the results have been declared. But they can be very helpful in as much as we have the negative sides. I think the positives quite outweigh the negative sides because before the news gets to the conventional media.
Sorry, we have our first caller on the program. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Is this Kenny Wonders? Yeah, go ahead, please. What's your name and location? Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead and make your point snappy. Yeah. Okay, are you done? Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I think he's still tasking the
Yes.
media, he's appraising us, but still tasking us to do
We
more.
really appreciate that, and we'll do more. I can assure you that the media is doing everything possible to ensure that the voices of persons with disabilities are amplified. So we'll do more. Thank you so much for that.
All right, keep your calls coming in, but before then, let's let you know. Okay, we have another call. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Good evening.
Okay, I think that the person who heard it earlier,
Oh, okay. Thanks for calling back.
yeah, I think that the better instrumental when fighting for the disability. So I want to take the media for their effort, for their hard work, most especially Radio Nigeria
Thank you.
and the other international media out there. So, I like to comment on the connection of voters card.
Okay.
I want to just speak of the general, from the general, so I will want public holiday, particularly not examination of the so more than students of training, so I can really from this. I possible their phone number can be discarded from the register. You have possible you can place them on call or send message to them. And also, I tell like human rights, NGO, and I think the point of that, make sure that the people get the activity. And this is the time that the highlight mobilize the adult, not on the election. And last year, the non connection of the I don't know, maybe the partially criminalized, like legal,
Ah, thank you so much. Are you done? Thank you so much. I sincerely admire how passionate you are about this PVC collection thing. So admirable. I don't know. Is this he's talking about a public holiday, though it's not in our order of duty to do that. Do you think it's something that
No, it's not. The only thing is to keep just reporting events as they unfold.
yeah
Just, take from the people to the government, from the government to the people. We just communicate.
yes. So it's actually not in our position to announce a public holiday. But sincerely, keep your calls coming in. We have less than 15 minutes to wrap up the program. All right, let's let you know what the 2018 Disability Act says. So the right to free, inclusive, and appropriate education and liberty for persons with disability is guaranteed under the Act. So these rights contemplate inter alia that such persons are prohibited from being deployed for collection of arms, free education to the secondary school level, provision of educational assistive devices, incorporation of Braille, sign language, and other skills in the curriculum of primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, and subsidized education for special education personnel. With respect to health, the Act prescribes free treatment for all persons with mental disabilities in all public institutions. So, pursuant to enjoying these rights and privileges in full, it is advised that such a mentally disabled person should obtain a permanent certificate of disability under Section 22 of the Act. The conditions for procuring such a certificate comprise evidence of mental disability and a recommendation by a doctor to that effect. Where mental illness arises during the course of treatment, a term of 180 days must elapse after the issuance of a temporary certificate of disability. Thank you so much for staying with us. Our star of the week is Dr. Stanley Wachuku. Do stay with us.
Wachuku, who is the chairman of Joint National Associations of Persons with Disabilities, Imo State Chapter, and president
I'm telling you what to do. Like it's almost 10. So we have about 10 minutes now.
Is far sounder in mind
to wrap
and
up the
has greater
program.
impact and productivity than most physically able persons around the world. Despite his deformity, he has made a lot of mileage in entrepreneurship, commerce, and hospitality as he employs hundreds of able-bodied men and women in his monthly payroll. Aside from being a successful businessman, Dr. Uwanchukwu has leadership traits and qualities innate in him. And that's why he has led a lot of organizations and associations that included able-bodied men and women due to his sterling and stellar leadership attributes. Dr. Uwanchukwu has recorded unprecedented achievements since he started piloting the affairs of the disabled in Imo
Is it
State.
music now?
His humanitarian
Music,
foundation
music,
has
is it now?
400 disabled
Music
Nigerians,
now.
especially Imo disabled people, in his monthly payroll. For several years now, he has instituted a yearly competition among the disabled where the second runner-up, first runner-up, and the winner smiled home with millions of naira as prizes won. I am Toluwase Akinwumi.
All right, still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. So far, we've been talking about and analyzing the level of preparedness by Nigerian journalists towards a person with disability inclusive media reportage for 2023 general election. We are just setting the table to make sure that we have a hitch free and fair election right here in Nigeria this year, because that will determine like the next 4 to 8 years of the future of Nigeria. And we want to know if the Nigerian journalists and the media are doing enough to make sure that persons with disabilities are being carried along during the electoral process. We have a representative representing the Association of Women Journalists. That's the president of the Association of Women Journalists in person of Momsu Damian, who is also an assistant manager News NTA and a member of NAWatch. So we'll be wrapping up shortly, but I want to find out from you again, stating how do we, when I mean we, I'm talking about the media and Nigerian journalists, how do we intensify efforts on reporting newsworthy issues surrounding persons with disabilities?
Okay, I think we just need to step up our game.
Okay.
We need to do more. Like someone commented us earlier that we've been doing enough, but we need to do more. And like I told you, I said before now, before the passage of the bill, you could hardly hear issues of persons with disabilities on the media space. But of recent, you hear them coming up. They come for live programs and all that. They're included in our programs, in our news, and therefore you know
Not
the
just
activities
it's
are
not
covered.
just
Yes.
government-owned stations.
No, not government owned.
Okay.
Even on the social media, you see them. I think they're also being enlightened on their rights,
Mm,
and that is also helping the matter
yeah.
because they now know their rights. They know, they approach media outfits and demand for space to showcase what they have. But so the publicity is actually outrageous now. It's commendable, and there's an improvement. But like we said, we've not gotten there, but we can get there. And most importantly, like I said earlier, that the journalist needs to realize that there's a need to be objective, there's a need to be accurate, there's a need to be truthful when we're reporting, so that we don't just align ourselves with a particular political party or persons and then neglect another part of the society. Everybody needs to be covered and needs to be reported adequately and fairly.
Right, it's still disability inclusion on network service of Radio Nigeria. We'll go on another music break, but we might have an avenue for you to throw in your suggestions as regard the topic of discussion. All right, 0705 or 0915 Stay with us.
Would that be the last word or this is all?
No, she's coming back. So we like to play around the section. So you're not just strict with one particular way. Yeah, thank you.
Right application for addition.
Let me ask you, this is Brian.
Before you go make am, you then got to make am must see. Everybody gets money. So my brother hustle, so my sister. No condition lasts forever. Hold on. So my brother hustle, so my sister walk. This no they do forever. Your peace to come. If you see person over come you trust in them. They ask you what's the order to go. See this time I know your time is up because you're the only king. We plenty for ya. Oh,
One day we go better. One day. Someday we better. When they tell you money no be everything, they first you dey mind, you say listen for one day now. So my brother hustle, I am not sure. Condition forever, don't they come now? Make you want to hustle, make you want you. This is not the good forever. Don't be so down, you're busy good.
if you see person over come you trust. If they ask you what's the order to go. See this time I know your time is up because you're the only king. Show me see this life time is gone.
I'll be only you. So my brother, oh my sister, walk you. Oh, no, they last forever. Your time will come.
So my brother.
Cobams Asuko featuring a beautiful voice, Simi Sola. Yes, and song titled We Plenty. I'm talking about We Plenty. While listening to this song and knowing the title, I just something came to my mind. I'm like, okay, youths make up like 70% of the population, in Nigeria. And I'm like, okay, youths these days are woke. Like, I've never seen a generation or a group of people as woke as the youths in Nigeria in any election season whatsoever. So, what's your message now to youths with disabilities?
Well, please go out and exercise your franchise,
Okay.
but don't cause trouble. You just cast your votes. If you have the strength and the energy to wait and observe and ensure that your vote counts, do that quietly. And when everything is declared, you just walk in peacefully. There's no need to cause trouble. I know the youths are awakened these days. In fact, they have the largest number of PVC collections in the country.
Like, I've never
Yes.
seen it.
They are so enthusiastic about these elections. This is the
Yeah.
first I think I've seen the youth so active and proactive, determined to make sure their voices count. But when we want to do that, please let's be done peacefully. Because if we destroy anything at the end of the day, we're destroying our own country, we're destroying our own future and our own development. So I advise that we should just keep it simple, just cast your votes and wait patiently until the votes are counted if you have the energy for that. And when that is declared, just go home and wait for the final declaration of the results. Yes, there's no need to cause trouble. There's no need to do anything. Just, I think we can still coordinate ourselves peacefully, like other advanced countries. There's no need to cause mayhem and chaos anywhere. Let's maintain the peace we're having now.
All right, enough said. Thank you so much for coming today, Mom. So Damian, thank you.
I'm
Sincerely
really glad.
appreciate you.
Yes,
Our representative, thank you so much. So the program has been Disability Inclusion. We sincerely appreciate your participation. This program comes up every Saturday from 7 p.m. down up until 8 p.m. On the network service of Radio Nigeria. All right, that's it for today. For more information on the activities of the Albino Foundation, visit the website at www.albinofoundation.org or send a message to 0703 1103773. 0701-977-3352. Endeavor to join in the conversation every Saturday. Special appreciation once again goes to our guests and to those who called in. We sincerely appreciate you. In case you're unable to reach us, we apologize. Next week will be another opportunity for you to join in. The engineer on duty was Onyebuchi Nwanwe, and studio manager has been Nuruddin Usman. This program is powered by the European Union in collaboration with the Albino Foundation. Many thanks to the producer, Stephen Esabo. Until next time, my name is Jennifer Ogo. Have a splendid weekend.